Hello everyone, my name is Ivo and welcome to Cooking with the Koyas. Today we are going to do some canning, and we're going to can something that not a lot of people do, and that's beans. I'm going to not only show you how easy they are to can and preserve, but I'm also, in the second part of today's show, I'm going to show you how I prepare them and serve them absolutely delicious. But for starters, look at these beautiful, beautiful beans right here. I've got some green ones and some yellow ones, and I picked these yesterday from my garden. And then my mother came over and she helped me clean them. She helped clean the beans, and by cleaning the beans, I'll show you how I do them. It's very, very simple. So to clean beans is very, very simple. You want to remove this stem because you do not want to eat that stem, that's for sure. So very simply, you just pinch the stem off, and then this other end, it's actually edible, but it's not a nice feel, let's just say, when you're eating it. So I like to remove both ends. That's it, right? Remove both ends, and that's as simple as it is to cleaning the beans. And from there, all you do is give them a wash. These have already been washed, and they're ready to go. So once your beans or your fagiolis are all trimmed and washed, next thing you need to do is prepare your brine. And it doesn't get much easier than this. What you're going to do is use 3 parts water, 1 part vinegar. So this is a cup and a half. That's 1. Okay, there's a refill. I might have said a cup and a half. It's a liter and a half. Okay, so that's 2. Okay, here's our third 1.5 liters of water. Now we do 1 part vinegar. Now I'm just going to use regular white vinegar. And if you want, you could use pickling vinegar. The ratio is the same. 3 parts water to 1 part vinegar. If you use pickling vinegar, it just comes a little bit stronger vinegar taste, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to use regular white vinegar today. There we go. There's a liter and a half. And you don't have to be really, really precise. Okay, there we go. So that's it for our brine. All we got to do now is bring it to a boil. So as you can see, we've got a nice boil going. That is absolutely perfect. Now all we have to do is add our beans. We're going to put our beans right in there. And in fact, I'm going to put the yellow beans and the green beans together. There we go. Now, once they go in, quite simply, all you have to do now, it has to come back to a boil again. So just let them sit tight, keep your burner on high, and let it come back to a boil. Now, I'm doing this outside, but of course you could do this right in the comfort of your own kitchen. That is exactly what we want right there. So now that it's come back to a boil, we want it to boil for about 2 minutes before we begin canning. So I'm just going to leave the lid on for 2 minutes. So now comes the fun part. We are going to leave the heat on high as we do this, and these come in handy. A jar, I'm not sure the exact name, honestly, a jar filling funnel. So all you do now is take your beans and using the funnel. Now what I did, that bean was a little bit longer. Some beans I missed, but other beans, what I did was I also cut them in half, and because they're big and long, and they're just easier to jar when they're, you know, smaller. You get more in a jar, they fit easier. I give a little shake. Okay, and it looks like we put in a little too much, and that's no problem. We'll just take some out. They are hot. Let's see what we got there. That's not bad. Okay, it's 1 jar there. So now what we can do, take that nice hot broth, or brine I should say. I'm not making a soup. Take that hot brine and fill the jar up, not quite full. You want to leave about a 1/2 inch to the top. Seal it. That one's done. Next one goes. So, same process. Keep the heat on high. And let's get in there and get some more fagiolis. Let's add our brine This method is called cold pack. You're basically taking the beans, heating them up. Yeah, that's good. You don't want to overfill it. If you overfill it, it won't seal. It needs some airspace there to seal. That's why you leave about a half of an inch of space. There we go. That's called cold pack. So now that what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna continue doing this with all of these and fill all these jars and top them up with the brine. Tongs work really well also because they can also tuck them into the jar as you're filling. There we go, right to the last bean. Get all of them in there, and it looks like that's gonna work out just perfectly. One more little piece in there. There we go. That's in. Let's get our brine and fill it. Now the other thing you could do as you're filling these, you can give them a little wiggle in case there's any air in there. The air will escape, and then that way you know you've got a good fill. So you bring it up to, like I say, you want about a half inch. You want to be about a half inch from the lid because it needs that vacuum tower for sealing. Okay, and when you put the lids on, you don't need to really crank these tight. That's it. All you need is a seal. Perfect. So there we have it. Who says canning takes a lot of work and effort? It's actually the opposite. It's quick and easy. Look how fast that was to do. And now all I have to do, look at those beautiful beans. Aren't they beauties? I love it. Now, let's take a towel, cover them up, let them cool slowly, and they will seal. By tomorrow, these will all be sealed perfectly, and they'll be good for at least a year and then some, but they won't last a year because we're gonna eat these up. And speaking of eating these up, let me show you now how I prepare these beautifully canned beans for serving on the table. Another delicious recipe coming up. Let's do it. So here we are, it's the next day, and just before we get started, let's check them out. Look at those beautiful beans. Now, the way you can check to make sure that they've all sealed, very simply, just push down on the lid. If it didn't seal, your lid you would feel it pop when you push it in, but because you don't feel anything, and I can actually see the lids are kind of sucked in a bit, every one of those jars have sealed, just like that. Now, normally, what I like to do is I like to wait at least 1 month before I crack a jar open. If you can't wait, then at least give it 2 weeks. Give it a chance for that brine to settle in and for those beans to cure. But for today's purposes, I'm gonna open up one right now just to show you how I dress them up. So let's do that now. So first thing we have to do is drain our beans. So I'll just pop that lid. There we go. And quite simply, just drain the brine from the jar. And you do not need to rinse these beans. Once you've drained them, leave them as is, and we're gonna dress them up just the way they are. Now, we simply take our drained fagiolis, our drained beans, put them into a nice little bowl. Now, what I have here is I've minced up a half a clove of garlic. So basically, I use a half a clove because these are small jars. If I had a full-size canning jar, I would use 1 clove of garlic. But because I've got the smaller jars, I only used a half a clove of garlic, and I chopped it up and minced it up very, very fine. Okay? And next we're gonna add some oregano. And you wanna add probably about, I'm gonna say a good 2 teaspoons of oregano to a tablespoon. Okay, and then just a little bit of salt to taste. And then of course, the real deal here, extra virgin olive oil. That's probably about, 3 tablespoons there. You know I like my olive oil. And then all you have to do, with all these beautiful ingredients, look at this. Toss it all up, get everything coated nicely. Get that garlic, a little bit of that fresh garlic. Try to get it distributed on all the beans. There we have it. That's just enough oregano. You could see there, all the beans are covered with oregano. The garlic is spread out very, very nicely. And of course, all the olive oil
And look at, there's a little extra olive oil here in the bottom. And you know what you do with that, folks? Once you're done all the beans with a nice fresh piece of Italian bread, nothing goes to waste. That's delicious.
Time for my favorite part. Let's take a yellow one. Let's try a green one. Tell you what, it's only been one day and the flavor already, and what I put on there with that olive oil and that little hint of garlic and the oregano, touch of salt, absolutely perfect. This will make for a great appetizer or a little side dish. Fantastic in the summer and all winter long. And you know what? It doesn't matter where you get your beans. You get them at the market, you get them at the grocery store, or if you grow your own like I did. Our parents canned, our grandparents canned, our great-grandparents canned. It's time that we get back into canning ourselves too. So, doesn't matter where you get your beans, take a minute, it won't take long, do some canning, and you'll enjoy these, not only for today, but you'll enjoy them all year round. I've got 8 more beautiful jars here. I've got another crop coming probably in a week. I'll be jarring up some more, and I hope that you get an opportunity to try this as well. These are absolutely amazing. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, buon appetito. Oh yeah. Great already, but make sure you be patient. Wait a couple weeks to 4 weeks before you crack open your jar.